guys, Sophia here from My Great Challenge. Welcome back to my channel. It is episode 13 in my mystery quilt for 2022. I am still working on Pat Sloan's, I'm looking for the the stuff. I'm still working on Pat Sloan's mystery quilt called Sweet Dreams, and today I am doing number 13. There's 18 blocks altogether. Each block is different. Every Wednesday she issues a new block. It is free. All you have to do is go on the website. The link is down below and download whichever block you want to do. Hopefully the whole quilt. And again, it's free and it's fun. I'm actually filming the intro and outro on Wednesday night. And when I mean night, I mean night. I just spent 2.5 hours in traffic going back home. It was horrendous. For those of you who are in the Newark, New Jersey and Jersey City area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just spent 2.5 hours to get home. I am exhausted. I got to edit this video and post it because it's Wednesday, and on Wednesday we do quilting. Block number 13. It is this block. It's called Pull Up to the Bar. It's all about sweets. So this one is, I guess, fruit bars and chocolate bars and all of this stuff. And they are, you probably saw it already right here. They are baskets and very Amish looking. They are what they call baskets. And they are absolutely stunning. And I have to tell you, because I already made them, it was the hardest block of all the blocks so far. So sit down, take your time in making those. We're making 2 in different colors, and I did at some point make a mistake. You'll see that at some point you have to cut half squares into little triangles, and I cut the smaller square instead of the larger squares, and in the middle of it, it was just like, that doesn't feel right. Something's wrong here. And I reread the instructions, and yep. So I had to use the Seam Reaper. It's not my first time, but it's rare that I have to do that. But that's okay. Sometimes you make mistakes. So I made my blocks, and you remember I'm doing all sorts of colors. I'm doing the colors of the rainbow. Last week I did green and purple. Today I am going to do hot pink and orange. 2 different blocks. One is going to be all orange and yellow, and one is going to be all hot pink and blue. So as usual, I'm going to start with cutting all my fabric and or material, wherever you want to call it, and let's get started. So last week the colors were green and blue, and then the other one was all purple. And this week I'm going to do the regular background in off-white, and I'm going to do 2 colors. I'm going to do the lemon with this orange, and then with the same background I'm going to take this one, which is a blue with purple and hot pink, and a contrasting hot pink. So these are my 2 blocks for today. Let's get started. I have to cut all the background first. So this is typical of what happens when you're working with your stash. Sometimes you just don't have enough. So I had to switch to this fabric instead. as a hot pink. So you need one very large square, one small square, 4 squares in a contrasting fabric. You need 2 rectangles for the background. You need 7 white background squares and 3 smaller square. So that's for one block. And for the next block, same design, just different colors, because we're making them 2x2s, remember? So we have 1 large, 1 small in the same fabric, and then 4 in a contrast, 2 rectangles. We have 7 medium size and 3 small squares. Okay, so if you are new, welcome. We are making half square triangles. They are the foundation of any good quilt. You're going to take 4 of your white and 4 of your dark. Actually, I switched them. My darks are actually my medium. And what you're doing is that you're putting 1 square. Forgive me if I go over this every single time, okay? I never know who's jumping in for the first time. So you take 1 square and you put it right side up. You take another square and you put it right on top of it. And you're going to mark a line. Let me change pens. There we go. From corner to corner, mark a diagonal. And what we do here is that at the machine, you're going to sew at 1/4 inch on both sides, here and here. Then you cut right on the line. And when you reopen your unit, it's going to give you a unit that's half and half. Hence the name half square triangle. So we have 8 to make, 4 in, for me, the lemon, and 4 in this fabric. So once you're done, this is what it looks like. You see I have the blue line in the middle and then 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch from each side. The next step is to cut them in half. So just follow the blue line, and each one is going to give you 2 units, one like this and this one. So they need to be pressed. I'll be right back and we'll square them. Okay, time to square. Here's 1 unit. You use a tucker trimmer. You put your 2.5 right here. Follow the diagonal. Trim everything that's outside of the trimmer. Flip it. You now follow the 2.5 and 2.5 here. Your diagonal is right there, and you trim everything that's outside. And we're going to do that for all 8 units. So now we have 8 units like this and 8 units like this. And just in case you're not tired of half square triangles yet, guess what? We're making 2 more, one with this color and then the other one with this color. Same thing, it's the exact same one, and you trim them to 2.5. So I'm gonna go do that, and when I come back we'll move on to the next step. So what we do is we're gonna do 1 row after the other. So here's the first row. Let's start by putting a background fabric right here, and then we're taking a half square triangle and we're putting 1, whoops, 2, and 3. Probably see better that way. Okay, so a background 1, 2, and 3 with the fabric down, and this one goes to this one at 1/4 inch, then this one goes to this one at 1/4 inch, and then you just add this one here at 1/4 inch. Let's go. So this is the first row, and I want to show you something because I said to one of my subscribers that I would talk about it. It's about losing points, and by points I mean this part right here. When you look at it, there's a space from the end of the point all the way up here. That should be 1/4 inch. If it's less than 1/4 inch, you're probably going to lose your point when you put another piece of or another block right over here. Right? You may get this way and cut it, or you may be a little bit above. So one of the best way to make sure you maintain your point, if you flip it this way, when you're going to sew it, you're going to see where your point is. It's this intersection right here. If you see this a line of stitching right here, and then there's a line of stitching that's perpendicular, and where they intersect right here is exactly your point. When you're going to sew at 1/4 inch above this, you want to make sure that your sewing line is going to be right on that intersection. If it's a little bit above, that's okay. You're not losing your point. You're just going to have a little bit more space. But if you cut this and you're a little bit below it, what's going to happen is that you're going to cut your point, and that's how you lose points. So make sure that you are right on that intersection. Let me see if I can give you a close-up. Right here. Do you see that crisscross? Okay. So when you're going to sew at 1/4 inch from here to here, you want that stitching line to be right on that intersection, a little bit above if you want, but as soon as you go below it, you lose your point. So that was the first row, and I did not flatten it yet, iron it. We're going to do row number 2. Row number 2, you start with one of these, and it's going with the design going up. You add a background right next to it, like this, and then you have another half square triangle. That one goes with the design going down, and then at the end here, you're going to take another one of those, but you cut it in half. You just cut it in half, that's it, and you're going to place it this way. All right, and regardless of whether it's a full square or half one, doesn't matter. This one to this one to this one to this one, all at 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so now I have 2 rows, the one I just made. Let's do the third row. The third row is one like this and one like this, and you have another one of those half triangle, and that one goes this way. Okay, here we go. Third row, and the fourth row is one going like this, and next to it is another one of those half this way. So 1/4 inch seam right here. Aha! Seam ripper time. I made a mistake. You see how this is not fitting right here at the bottom, because I was supposed to do that with the larger square, not the tiny ones. Is this one right here, and it should overhang by a little bit like this. And then same thing with this one. I picked the wrong one. It's supposed to be a larger square. So let's see, that should be much better. Here we go. Yes, much better. So this one goes here, this one goes here, and then for this one we have this one going up, and then we're adding one of those triangles right here. All right, you do that, and then I have to press them. So this one block is a little bit more complicated, isn't it? All right, we're going to do one row after the other, and what you want to make sure is that they match here on all the seams. Don't worry about the little overhang here, because that gets cut off anyway. So this one goes to this one goes to this one, and then once you have all three, this one goes to that one. But again, you got to make sure all your seams match. So best way to match the seams, you unfold it this way so you can see, and then you match it right here. At least that's the first one, and then you do the same thing for the next row. Let me hold on to this. So here it is pressed, and it's looking pretty good, but we have all those little tidbits here we got to remove before we add the next piece. So let me move the camera to the other side, because I'm a righty. So let me go ahead and cut all that excess here. Okay. And then if I have a little bit excess right here, I want to cut that too. Boom. Alright, so the next step is to take the large square, which is this one right here, and that one, I got to cut it in half. And what it's going to do basically once it's cut in half is that half of this, like this, would be this. So I got to think about which way I want my fabric to be oriented. Do I want it like this? Do I want it to look this way, or do I want it to look this way? It's not an easy fabric. Should have picked something else. I'm gonna go this way. So I'm gonna cut it in half right here, and we're only using one half. The other one goes back in the stash. And take this, and what we're doing, this piece goes right here and gets sewn at a 1/4 inch seam, and then we flip it over the other way, and it's going to finish the square. But we're not done. There's more. We got to add a piece here and a piece right here. And that's fairly simple. I'm going to place this one right here. this one right here. I'm going to place this one right here, and this one right here. We're missing a piece at the bottom, and that is a background right here. So how do we do that? Pretty easy. We got one row all at a 1/4 of an inch seam, and then another row, and then you just add this one to this, and then this whole piece to this one. So here's the first one. I gotta tell you, this was not easy. This is really bothering me. I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on there. A little trick for you to get this line perfect here. You see how there's a seam right here? Start with this seam. Don't start sewing from here down. Start sewing from here to here and match that seam. That's the only way you're gonna get this straight. Otherwise, this one is gonna be either above or below. It's going to be a hot mess. So I got to turn that over, figure out what's going on over here, and then I got to make the other one. The other one's going to go much faster because I'm not filming. When I come back, I will show you the other one, and I'll be done with today's video. Ooh, okay, I'm done, and I got to tell you, this was the hardest one of all the blocks so far. Number 13. Was pretty hard. I guess because it was different. Baskets are not easy. There's a lot of points that have to be perfect. Are they? No. Some of them are a tiny bit off, but that's alright. It still looks pretty darn good. So you tell me down below, how do you like this particular block and the colors? Guys, these were hard, okay? I'm not going to lie to you, these were hard to make, but I did a good job. I hope my little explanation on how to keep your points help you. I know that somebody in particular had asked, complaining that they were losing their points and they didn't know why. So I hope you can see how I did it and how to keep your points. And I gotta be honest, they look equally good on the back side. So these are Step Up to the Bar, my 2 baskets, and I love them. They did take quite some time. The first one, I didn't do them side by side like I did last time with the other 2. But the first one, because I was doing the video at the same time, took quite a lot of time. The second one was zip zip. It took half an hour maybe for the second one, and that was the yellow one. So I like this block a lot. And as always, when you work with Pat Sloan and you download her stuff, she will give you alternate patterns, and this is what it would look like if you were doing it as a table runner. You could do it for every season if you wanted to. That would be actually really cool to do one for winter, spring, summer, and fall, or you do a whole runner for each season. A spring one with all sorts of flowers, colored flowers. That would be really cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if I'm not looking all that great. The furnace is still running. Again, I just got home after a very long commute and I am exhausted. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to watch the gallery at the end. I have new pictures from our ladies who are doing the quilt. If you have not updated your pictures and sent me new pictures, I'm going to assume you stopped, so I'm not adding you to this gallery. I want to make sure that the ladies who are still doing it get all the credit. And that would be it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at My Great Challenge, channel merch, My Great Challenge gift, and Frenchie and Tubby on Etsy for vintage finds. Thank you for watching. Bye! Hey, it's me, and guess what? Click that thumbs up if you really like this video. Thumbs down twice if you didn't. You can also share my video if you really liked it, or save it to watch later. Also, you can subscribe to my channel, but don't forget to click that bell button so you are always notified when I post a new video. Thank you for watching.